everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we are back. This time we are talking SnowFall. This is the season finale, season 4, episode 10. If you hang tight, we'll be right back with you.
Busy in the last one burnt you, know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust.
All right, everyone, we are back. Like I said, we are talking SnowFall. And, speaking of SnowFall, we had a previous interview with DeAndre Bonds. And today we are rocking his merch from his company, Grind Till We Rich. So shout out to him for the merch. I'm loving it. The shirts feel nice, good quality.
Nice.
So we'll drop the link in our description box so that if you guys would like to purchase, you can go ahead and click the link to his store. Good quality shirts.
Okay, mine is still on the way. So Scully was too busy taking care of, trying to take care of Franklin Saint and his crew. He was too busy to put my t-shirt in the mail. So mine is still on the way. I'm rocking my Black Wall Street t-shirt for Brother Alton tonight.
Holding it down. We're good.
Okay, well, like I said, this is the season finale. And this episode was titled Fight or Flight. Now, I couldn't think of a better title than that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had a little bit of both in it too, so
Yes, and that's what I was about to say. This episode gave me so much anxiety.
Me too.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but finally a certain person has finally done what I have been hoping that she would do for some time, and she did it in grandiose style, so I'm good.
Okay, well, I mean, I do want to talk about Brother Alton. You brought up him, Tiffany, and just when I thought Alton couldn't do any more damage, he goes off the deep end today. I mean, on this episode, he really took it to the next level.
However,
He sure did.
he might have, but Black Panther Party showed up in Alton, and that's what I appreciate. And this is what I've been trying to say all along. Because if the Black Panther Party were there, they would have done that exact same thing. They would have exposed the government. They would have done anything and everything they could to save the community. He had gotten to a point where his training and his history, he had to do something. And I'm glad he did it. Is he a martyr? He could have, well, we don't know that yet, but we can go down the list of martyrs who stuck their neck out to save lives. And this is how I see Alton. He was trying to save his family, albeit he went a crooked road, but he was trying to save his family, trying to save the community. I got nothing but love for him.
No, he was.
Yeah, but I still say if you're gonna go that far and go on the radio, you have to tell his full name, because that's your protection, right? Because as long as you don't say the name, he still has a reason to kill you, right? Because he's still protecting his identity. So I think if you're gonna do that, you realize that you can threaten Reed. You can really threaten the CIA, so you're strategic. You expose him so they burn him and maybe leave you alone, right?
That was the goal. That was the goal. He gave up his alias.
Yeah, he gave up the alias.
And he said he was going to expose pictures and this, that, and the other. But he probably should have done that right then and there. Like you said, if you got the floor, you need to go for it.
Well, he didn't have a crystal ball, and you don't know how much time he had on the radio at that particular time.
He did,
because he could have He's going to brought it there. Like,
you don't know how much time he was given. I'm saying, a lot of times on radio programs, you allotted a certain amount of time, and then based on what you have. Now, I don't know how that went down, and he didn't have a crystal ball because he was really interrupted by.
He had the information because he was the one that got top notch to get the pictures and everything.
Had the information, but he didn't have a crystal ball to know that he was going to get caught up in this situation. So
the reporter, he did know.
I'm saying he didn't know that he and Franklin were going to have a visit. And then they had to make there's a lot that went down after that radio show. So he was just planning to be back.
He should have been ready at the radio show.
I think what it was a bait. I think he wanted to put the information out there to bait Reed in because he knew Reed would come after him after that.
It was.
Exactly.
His move, like he planned to kill Reed. And so
you know what?
Trying to have something else in his back
That
pocket.
that was his plan.
That's
That was
exactly
his plan.
what it was.
But once again, like Franklin said, this is CIA, and he is CIA trained. And even though the Black Panthers were trained too, they're trained too. But it was him just by himself, and it went down just as I thought it would go.
Well, I mean,
because I did not trust that Reed was going to let him go.
No.
And when Reed said that he was going to go off, I'm going to be off the grid for a little while. I got to get some rest, whatever the case may be. I knew right then. I was like, he coming for Alton.
And Franklin should have known that.
He should have. And you know, I'm surprised Franklin even let Alton off the hook, because the way he rolled up in that homeless shelter and he was putting everybody out, I was like, Franklin might off Alton.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, he did. I said he was savage, but at the end of the day, that's his mom. I mean, that's his dad.
I think the only reason he kind of spared Alton in the first place is because she knows how his mom feels for him.
And plus, his mom got to him too. Like he said, he is only doing this to protect you. He loves you. And mom broke through when she said that. And because you can tell that when Scully busts up in there seeking revenge, and Alton got shot, he was concerned.
Yeah.
He was like, Alton, and he was like, we got to get you to the hospital. As angry as he is, at the end of the day, that's his dad.
That's right.
And he pulled the gun on Reed too.
Yes,
like he was like, you're gonna have to shoot all of us.
Yes,
At the end of the day, when it came down to it, he was gonna stand tall for his dad.
That's where, and that's how it should be. And that's where it was supposed to be. Like
that's how it is supposed to be.
You should have shot Reed anyway.
Reed was instigating. I was like, damn. I was like, and that's why.
What he does.
Look, you know, I hate saying if I were somebody, but if I were Alton, when Alton said, look, I will do anything to protect the people I love. And when Reed came back with, so will I. See, that to me as a Black Panther would have said, oh, so you in love with killing my people. You in love with bringing these drugs into my community and wiping us out. That's what you're in love with. You're in love with trying to engage with this war that we shouldn't have been in as American citizens anyway. And now you want to, you know, promote that war with drugs into the Black community. You didn't, like Alton said, your people in Beverly Hills aren't suffering, you know, so why are we suffering and you all aren't? So that's when a bullet should have gone through to that bullet should have been at Reed right after that point, because it really brought home what Reed was really about. He didn't give a damn about the Black community. He just wants to sell drugs and raise that money.
Surprised that Reed gave up the meeting spot in the first place, because if he was going to take Alton out without any intervention, I wouldn't have told Franklin at all where I was.
No, he did that. That's what I'm saying. CIA lulling you to sleep. He was letting Franklin, like he was like, he said, out of respect for you, he said, I'm gonna let you know the meeting place. So that's his way of lulling Franklin to sleep. Like, see, in good faith, I tried to do this and that. And he let him fly off. But what happened? And I knew that when he said he was gonna be off the grid, he was lying to Franklin then. I mean, he was off the grid. He was telling the truth about that, but he was not telling the truth about his intentions.
Yeah. Go ahead, LaWanda.
No, because to Tiffany's point, I think Reed he's a strategist. He's always calculated and, you know, checking the temperature, right? So he had Franklin there because he knows he can't kill Franklin's father without Franklin's permission. Mm-hmm. He has to be complicit in it, right? If they're gonna keep up their relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Once Franklin pulled the gun on him and he saw what it was, he had to pull back. He was like, I'm gonna get him, but I can't do it this way. Now, if he kills Alton, which we believe he will do, Franklin's gonna know it was him.
Exactly.
Franklin is gonna know it was him. So, I mean, I guess in the meeting between time, he's still trying to work out another situation about what he's gonna have to do about Franklin, because he knows he's not gonna Franklin pulled a gun on him. He knows now that Franklin will kill him.
Exactly. And in my opinion,
next season, it is on.
So
it is on.
If he kills Alton, if he kills Alton, he better go back to the States
Next
and kill
season,
Franklin right away.
It is on. It is
Because
on.
when Franklin finds out, and he will find out.
Oh, Sissy gonna tell him.
Oh, definitely.
Sissy gonna tell him.
And when
Because
that
when
happens,
Sissy comes back, and if she finds him, if he's just gone and disappeared like poof, like we know Reed is capable of doing and making bodies disappear, she's gonna know she's gonna be back in LA. She's gonna tell Franklin. Franklin's gonna know what's up and it's gonna be on. And this is the thing. Reed is now a lone wolf. He told Franklin, he said he's been let go by the CIA. They're bringing somebody else in to replace Reed. Now Franklin will be dealing with Gustavo. So it's gonna be Franklin against Reed next season.
I agree.
All the more reason to give Reed's real name, because that's what he's trying to protect, is his identity, so he can go whatever
And do whatever, exactly.
But yeah, but what the CIA would have done was kill Reed, put somebody in his place, and then that person would have been after Franklin.
They already put somebody in his place.
Yeah, so Reed is
only this day's a number.
Yeah, he's a marked man. So, you know, and marked for not good, for the worst. So yeah, as you said, he's got limited time. But the only thing he can do is, as far as with Alton is concerned, he's got to kill Alton, wait for Sissy to come back, kill her, and that'll buy him enough time.
Well, I was looking on social media, and of course, everybody was, saying that Alton was dead, but we never actually seen that happen. So we don't know that Alton is dead yet.
No, true.
And then on the other side of that, they were talking about how Sissy conveniently was not there.
I saw that too, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that either. I don't believe Sissy set him up, because the way that sis walked away, that was a happy walk. That was a happy and love walk. Another thing, if she really wanted him dead, she wouldn't have jumped in the middle like, hey, don't take this bullet. Like I really think that she thought they had a second chance and stuff. So I don't believe that was, the Twitter was all a buzz last night saying, they said, oh, Franklin is his mother's son. She set Alton up. She loved that man.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Right, and you know how I felt about Sissy not protecting Alton in the last few episodes, but this time she stepped up in a big way. I mean, when you step in front of a gun, and trust me, I've been there. When you step in front of a gun, and you're praying the whole time. And that really shows some kind of love. So when that woman did that, everything I felt about her and her lackluster relationship with her husband, I said, okay, you made up for that. You made up for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was waiting to see
she was
that.
willing to give her life for her man. She was like, no. And she convinced him to go away. But I knew Reed was coming. I was like, because it was too much truth in what Alton was saying too. I was like, I may not have liked how he went about it, but what he was saying, when he was like, no, when Reed was like, no, I'm just a man. I'm not this. He like, no, you are that. I'm like, yeah, tell him you are a vessel of that. You are exactly what he is saying you are. Everything that Reed said, I was like, there were no lies told.
Yeah, it's true. And I loved, another scene that really, really had me on edge was when Scully rolled up to the hospital on Louis, and the way that they were showing that, the filmography, like between the Reed and Franklin and Alton situation, and then going back and forth between that and Louis and Scully at the hospital, like I was just a mess, because I was like, I don't know what's about to happen.
Which gun's gonna go off first?
I was certain that Louis was about to be a goner.
Hell, even Jerome, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, again, that says a lot about Scully though, because he really didn't want to pull that trigger. If he wanted to pull the trigger, he would have done so and been gone. Louis talked him down, and I'm not certain if we would have expected that kind of situation coming from Scully, allowing somebody to talk you down, because he lost his baby, lost his girl. I mean,
but he also found religion. So he was already in a different headspace.
Yeah.
He wasn't the same Scully from the beginning of the season.
Except that the contradiction in that was when he broke up into Franklin's house, very stupidly. I mean,
grief. You know, he was, yeah, I mean, it was brief. He just immediately just went off. But then when somebody talked reason to him, I mean, sometimes you need to hear something out loud. You need to hear somebody say something.
And I think he knows that from the start. It was Khadijah that kind of set that ball. I mean, even his crew kind of set that ball in motion from the start. His crew were the ones that rolled up on Leon and started that whole battle, even from them shooting Leon first. So it was like a snowball effect of them shooting Leon, and then Leon getting in the shootout outside of Scully's grandmother's house and accidentally killing his daughter. And then Khadijah picking up that and snowballing it more by killing Fatback, and then sending the hitters after Leon. It was just like a whole snowball effect. And so I think that Scully realizes, like, we kind of set this in motion, and she's right. Like, if I do this, it's never going to stop, because it's just going to be a tit for tat situation. And the fact that, you know, after he put that guy up on the crucifix and kind of nailed him out in the middle of the park, I think he feels like his karma is coming back to him. He's like, you know, all the bad things I've done are catching up to me. So maybe at some point I need to cut this stuff out.
Yeah, that's what good religion will do for you.
And the fact that he was standing in that hospital room bleeding to death, I think that had something to do with it too.
So
that had a lot to do with it.
So that's a good question. Is he alive or is he dead? And I'm like, well, he's in the hospital. You got to be bleeding like that. The best place to be, you know, he's where he is. But then the question becomes, did he get arrested? So, you know, it'll be interesting next season how we see Scully.
Yes. Yeah. That's for sure, because that was another topic of conversation on social media. Is he dead? Is he not dead? And what does that mean going forward? Some people were suggesting that he might team up with Louis and Jerome somehow. And I'm like, nah, I don't see that.
I don't see that either. And to piggyback on your point about how everything was set in motion, you know, the tit for tat, it all goes back to Franklin. Franklin took a side. Franklin took a side when he chose, you know, Manboy over Scully and set him up. Then that's when Scully came after Leon and stuff. So Franklin, like, I saw a lot of this on Twitter. People were like, these people, they abandoned Franklin, they being ungrateful. And I'm like, I hear y'all. Even my son was feeding into that. Talking about these people ungrateful. Jerome wouldn't have a stereo without him. Louis wouldn't have a club. And all that is true. But just as he is responsible for their, you know, their come up, he's also responsible for all the chaos that happened this season because he took a side.
So you don't believe that any of this could have happened without Franklin making that first move?
No, I think, listen, both of them, Manboy and Scully, were his two biggest suppliers. They were beefing. He could have said to both of them, listen, y'all making the streets hot. I ain't gonna supply to neither one of y'all right now.
Right.
If you know, if y'all don't cut this mess out, you making a block hot.
Right.
And where they gonna go? Like, Franklin had the plug.
Yeah.
So he could have played his role that way. Like, no, like, I'm cutting y'all both off. If you hit them in the pocket, they would have chilled all that mess out. Because think about it, Manboy turned on his own boy to stay in business with Franklin and them. He gave up his boy and told him where to find him. So if he had put his foot down with both of them and been like, you know what, I ain't gonna deal with neither one of y'all until y'all cut all this mess out. They would have cut it out, and they were capable of cutting it out, because when the baby got killed, they were cool again. So that's the stance that he should have taken instead of taking a side. And Leon told him from jump not to take a side.
I hear you. And yeah, going to that conversation about Leon, because that he went to Leon for advice after, you know, Jerome and Louis kind of let him know that they wanted to go solo. So that was a big blow to him. And then on top of that, having Leon tell him, like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this anymore. And for Leon, it's not because of selfish reasons, like, oh, I want to come up and do my own thing. It's more like, this is really starting to affect me. And I don't know if, like, the morality of what we're doing is going to sit well with me going forward. And so the fact that Franklin kind of told him, like, nah, this is what you gonna do. We gonna reunite the family. And so I mean,
gave up a lot for Leon. He gave up a lot for Leon, and that's why he bossed up on him. Like, wait a minute, or I could have turned you in and this, that, and the other. And now you're gonna leave me when, you know, he was ruthless the way he came across.
Well,
But
Leon caught wisdom, and you know, I thought that was excellent wisdom in terms of getting out. You know, nothing's forever, and Franklin's got to learn that law too. You know, at some point, what you're seeing now is a breakdown of your organization, and you're now trying to force Leon to stay in a position that he doesn't want to be in. And I don't know how that's going to play out for him next season. You know, Jerome, your muscle is gone. You know, Louis gone. It's really time to hit the high road. You know, got your money, maybe get out. It's time. It's nothing's forever. But you know, go ahead.
I was going to ask what you guys thought about that situation with Louis and Jerome trying to go solo and saying, you know, I mean, because Louis was the one that kind of set all this whole stuff, like everything up for Franklin. She kind of, without her support, Franklin wouldn't have made it this far.
she was his counsel.
Everything.
She held him down while he was out.
Yes.
So she could run this. Now Arkansas, I think it's gonna be a mess, but you know.
It is.
Yeah.
Man,
But
boy,
I mean, Louis is kind of like the brains of the operation, and Franklin is, you know, just the person that she's pouring the wisdom in to enforce what she's telling him to do. But I do think that they could be successful on their own, but I don't think it's a good idea still, because they don't really have a solid team. And Jerome just 2 weeks ago was talking about, you know, calling it quits. He wanted out, saying that they had already had enough. And so just to see him shift gears and say, you know, we can do this on our own, they don't trust that Franklin can protect them anymore. And they think that he's making stupid mistakes, which I think that if they were in his position, they'll realize that a lot of being in Franklin's position is stuff that you can't control. And you just basically trying to mitigate all of the stuff that's thrown at you. It's nothing that I can say Franklin necessarily brought on himself purposely, you know, intentionally, but he's just dealing with the blows as they come. And so I think if they were in his shoes, they would understand that.
Well, for me, is, you know, like I said, if I were in a position of Franklin's, first of all, I wouldn't be dealing with family in as much as I, you know, because family can get you in trouble. You know, as far as Jerome is concerned, sure, I think Louis can handle the business aspect of dealing in drugs, but you know, you got 10 kilos to move, and how are you going to do it? I mean, have you sat down to form some sort of organization? You know, whose people are you going to use on the block to start spreading all, you know, those drugs? You're going to use Franklin's people? That's going to be an issue. And
you know what I think? I think she's going to try to set up some kind of club in Arkansas. And because that's how she did it to get them started in California.
That would only be.
I think she would set up a club, you know, give everybody samples like they were doing initially, build up the clientele that way through word of mouth, and then get a team in order that way. Once people see how much money is being raked in, it's not easy to find a team that's willing to go out there and be a corner boy.
And actually, I think that's a smarter thing to do, because you're out of state. You know, the heat is down there in Arkansas, wherever they are. So I think that's a real smart thing to do if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna be in this business. You know, being in your backyard is heavy.
Man boy called it last week when he said that they're all gonna leave you, right?
Yeah.
And so he called it, but we've seen this before, and I can't think of the guy's name. It wasn't Peaches, but Franklin's driver, his bodyguard, who wanted to get out, and he was like, "No, now is not the time." It's this repetitive thing that we see with Franklin about people wanting to leave his circle. You know, it's almost like that's his deep-seated fear that he'll be left alone, right? That's always what he's kind of hedging against, but it's also, he creates the situation where he makes it dangerous for people to be around him. He's creating these situations where you're asking people to basically choose life or death. It's not about them disassociating themselves with you. These people are trying to survive, because what you've gotten everyone in is everybody's going to end up dead or in jail.
I think so.
Do you think it was wrong of Jerome to cause it seemed very much so like Jerome was blaming Franklin for what happened with Louis, for her getting shot, for Scully rolling up in the hospital. But if I recall correctly, it was Jerome that was so adamant about Louis attending the funeral in the first place. And told him it was stupid in the first place.
Yes.
And then on top of that, like Scully rolling up into the hospital, that had nothing to do with Franklin. Anybody could have looked up the hospital sign-in sheet and figured out what room she was in. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, is Uncle Jerome taking this out on Franklin unreasonably?
Yeah, he is. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you get into that business, you sign your death certificate the day after you got into that business. And there's no guarantee how long you're going to be around. You can't control the daily situations when you're in that business. It's just too volatile. And you're going to get into that business, you got to be ready to do any and everything, because any and everything is coming at you. So, no, go ahead, Lamar.
Well, I think Jerome's too feels a little bit like, he was duped in a sense, because he didn't understand the whole picture, that the government was involved, that the CIA was involved. And so he didn't really have a choice. He didn't really know exactly what he was getting into, and the fact that they couldn't walk away. It's one of the, I think that's the difference, that because of who he's dealing with and the fact that you can't leave, that's something completely different. And I think I'd be angry about that too. You pull me in.
Yeah, but when you're in the drugs like that, and even minus the CIA, it's almost blood in, blood out. You don't necessarily walk away. I mean, it's not a retirement type of.
But I don't think he knew he was in that deep.
No, he didn't know. Exactly, that's something different.
No, he did not know that the CIA was involved. He did not know that, and I don't know if it would have changed anything for him had he known at the very beginning. They might have tried.
Well, I think it would have.
It would have changed. It would have been a different decision, I think.
I don't know.
Because it's different from selling.
Selling weed. That's it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the police had already rolled up on Uncle Jerome, beat him up bad, ransacked his house. I don't think that he would have wanted anything to do with law enforcement after that.
Well, look what he did, though. I mean, law enforcement, they break in, they beat you up, and you still get involved with the more heavier aspect of the drug deal. So, like I said, at some point when you buy into it, you're in.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a catch-22, because you get in and you just want to get the money, but then as you're in deeper and deeper, it sucks you in to the point where it's so hard to leave. I mean, look at Franklin. Right. He started off so pure and innocent, not just, he just wanted to make a few extra dollars for the family. And now he's like a full-blown killer.
He is a monster. He's a monster. Really,
the world's largest distributor of crack cocaine. That's what Reed said.
Yeah. And he was right. That's what I said. What's it called? Alton was like, he's a child. He was like, your son is the largest distributor of crack cocaine. And he told me that's what he wanted. Like, so he is a monster. And the way he walked off at the end of the episode, they confirmed it for me. I was like, he is savage, and he's gonna be savage next season.
So, you remember The Usual Suspects? Kaiser Sose, that's exactly what I thought about. You remember the way that movie ended? When Kevin Spacey did the same thing, he's walking down the street and all of a sudden he straightens up. I just laughed. I was like,
he is the devil. How long has he been able to walk upright? Like, I was like, how long has he been on that cane?
Not long. How long? Not long. He could have gotten rid of that cane.
That's what I'm saying. And so I'm like, did he dupe everybody? Like, everybody thought that he was still like, because he sure was, he strutted out of there.
Yeah, he did. And speaking of that scene, the fact that he rolled up on Mel in Texas.
I told y'all in one of the episodes I recast, I said she gonna reemerge. I knew it wasn't an accident that she was in the first season. And I know Jason had said something like, we ain't see her no more. I don't know we're gonna see her again. And I said she gonna reemerge. This is a problem. And what I didn't know is I didn't really think that she gave anything to Irene, but apparently she did.
Yeah, that was news to me. I didn't know that they were as close as Franklin had pointed out, and I certainly didn't know that she, contributed anything to Irene.
Well, we knew Irene went to see her.
Yeah.
And stuff, but I didn't think that she really gave her anything of substance. But apparently, she did give him some information and give her some information.
Well, I guess she was bereaved about Franklin killing her dad, and she asked that question at the end, I'm not sure if Franklin really gave a confirmation.
He didn't fess up.
Yeah,
he nodded.
He
Take
kind of
care,
nodded.
Mel. He not, but he didn't own up, and he's not going to.
Yeah,
No.
I was gonna say for a second it looked like he gave her like a nod up.
He gave her a nod. He nodded, but he still was like, "Take care of yourself, Mel." Like that was, he ain't fess up, and he ain't going to.
And I think he did that to let her know that, yeah, you shot me, but you didn't really hurt me.
That's exactly when he hung the cane up. It was like, yeah, and I'm stronger than ever. Like,
yeah,
like, you tried to come for me, it ain't work.
Yeah, that was a good closing for that scene. I mean,
oh my goodness,
that was good for her. She had cut it out now.
Yeah, because you know, I'm back. I mean, when he hung.
Listen,
but this is the kid you grew up with. They used to climb in your window at night. I just don't know what she was thinking in that moment, other than I should have killed him, you know?
Well, she tried. She shot him 3 times. I don't think that was a warning when she shot. I think that was her aim. He just survived.
He just survived.
Yeah. He just survived. And I think, you know, that hanging up the cane moment, like, to go back to The Wire, Omar used to always say, like, if you won't come at the king, you better not miss. Yeah. And I saw that moment hanging up the cane like that, like.
But they say power corrupts, absolutely, right? Because it's just like, take this child, it's like he's doing things that I'm even shocked about. I was like, okay, when he put the people out of the homeless shelter, the children,
he's a monster.
Babies,
he's a monster.
He's gone somewhere. We're not gonna get Franklin back at this moment.
No, I told my son, I was like, listen, I said, by the time this is said and done, I said, he going to jail or he going to die. I was like, unless he comes to some type of realization, I said, he is far gone.
But let's look at it from this point of view. He was trying to find his dad. Had he not done that, how else was he going to find him?
He still didn't find him by doing that, though.
Well, he did because the guy got word to him. He met him at the house. Correct. So obviously the dude did reach out to him and stuff. They did connect. Exactly. So he forced his hand. He did. So,
and I don't really see any. Well, I can't.
He was wrong for that.
He might. Okay, on the aspect of him putting people out of the homeless shelter, he's wrong. But I think it also shows that he was really trying to save his dad. Either that, or he was trying to kill him. And I have to say, he was trying. No,
he was desperately trying to. He was trying to save his dad, and dude was.
That was the only card he could play. That was the only card he could play at that time. There was no other card left.
Yeah, because dude was not trying to cooperate. So that is the only card he had to play at the time, but it still was ruthless. It was ruthless.
No, I agree. I mean, it you know, it is. It's bad.
So do you guys have any predictions you want to throw out for next season? I know we've already kind of gone through a few of them, but anything that we haven't talked about? I know one I'm thinking of is maybe since Reed has kind of been ousted from the CIA, maybe he will take Avi up on his offer to work with him.
Yeah, I don't think he'll shoot Alton because he has to kill Sissy too. And I just don't see it coming because he if he does that, he's not.
Sissy said she was going to be gone for an hour or two.
Yeah, I don't think
he has enough time to shoot Alton and get up out of there. I mean, you know, I don't know if he'll dispose of the body, you know, in that time or whatever, but he has enough time.
Did you get the impression that he didn't break in the house? He just walked in, like the door was like.
Yeah, Alton was reading the book.
But the door had to been unlocked. It wasn't. It didn't seem like he had to, you know, he had to use any necessary tactics to get in the house. It's just that he opened the door. You know, my initial impression of that was maybe Sissy set him up, but then I know better.
Yeah,
she
right.
Set him up, but and we know that Reed can get in anybody's house at any time. But it just the
he probably jimmied
it.
He could have jimmied it.
How did he get into Irene's house? I mean, like he gets into every place he wants to be.
It was
and
just
also, back in the day, people used to actually feel safe leaving their doors unlocked back in the 80s or whatever. Like it wasn't such a
Yeah, not my neighborhood.
For all the crime.
They were in Cuba. He thought they were safe.
I don't know why.
Maybe.
I mean, Cuba got its problems too. But
But I think he unlocked the door. I just think Jimmy did or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know if see, I kind of predicted this last week when I said I don't think there would be any deaths this episode. And I told you they would probably leave us on a cliffhanger. So next season, we gotta wait to find out what's gonna happen to Alton. We gotta wait to find out what's going on with Scully. And then we gotta wait and see if somehow, some way, Franklin can get the whole team back on the same page. And maybe it might be some circumstances that forces them back together.
I think that Little Rock stuff is going to be out of control. And first of all, like you said, they don't have the manpower. Like they don't really have soldiers like that. So I think that Louis and Jerome and them, they may try their hand, but eventually they're going to be back with Franklin.
I do see that. I don't see them trying to get this on their own, and they got nothing. They got nothing.
They're going to try, but I don't know how successful. I mean, it may be successful for a while, but they don't really have soldiers like that. Right. So that's why I think they're going to end up trying to go back to Franklin. I think it's going to be some drama between Franklin and Reed. That's going to be my prediction for next season.
And then that new person that they bring in to fill Reed's slot.
Oh yeah,
that person is going to be a problem too, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to play by the same rules that Reed played by.
No, because Reed, at least he had a little bit of respect for Franklin. Like he was like, "I'll be there with you to the end" and stuff. They seemed like for a while they were kind of cultivating a friendship, kind of sort of. This new person,
new person is going. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying the new person has no attachments. They don't have any kind of rapport. So it's like they starting fresh from scratch, and they're not going to have any mercy for any mistakes that Franklin made. He is truly going to be expendable at that point.
Yes, they're going to treat him like an employee, and he's not going to be accustomed to that.
Yeah, that's not going to work out.
Yeah, the other thing I keep thinking about is the nature when Louis and Jerome said they wanted to go into the business, the nature of this product, it brings a lot of attention. Whereas when you're selling weed, or if you were doing cocaine, you could quietly do that through the club. But because of the way that people are impacted by this drug, the way that the demand is and how people are willing to do anything for it, they're just going to bring a lot of attention to themselves. And so I think the spotlight is on them now. So everyone has to be careful. The next season is going to be even more dangerous for everyone than the past 4 seasons, right? They up the ante. So I'm excited to see what comes next.
Me too.
Another thing I thought about too was the new person from the CI being brought in and how that's going to affect the relationship with Gustavo, and what's going to become of him now that he has got this packet of information on Lucia. Gustavo
already told him, he says, like, you can bring in anybody, just don't let them get in my way. So, Gustavo just doesn't care. It's interesting, his character though. I like to see more. I like to see more up from his character next season.
I think he likes Reed though. I think that he and Reed have a genuine friendship and stuff. So I think that he may still be working on the side with Reed, or at least feeding him information.
And he's more so the neutral party. He's the middleman between like Franklin and Reed at this point now, and especially the new person that comes in. So maybe he'll be able to help foster that relationship and keep some kind of normalcy to their operation as they knew it.
But he's a dangerous man, so whoever comes in, they better get to know him real quick.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm absolutely looking forward to next season. It's going to be fire. So
it is.
Good job to the SnowFall team, actors, and the writers, and everybody involved. This was an excellent season, and we cannot wait for the next one for sure. And if you guys stick with us, we might have some special surprises up under our sleeves. So just stay tuned to see what we have cooking up. Also, again, shout out to DeAndre Bonds, who played Scully on the show for the merch. Grind Till We Rich. Make sure y'all hit him up. Cop some merch. Scully. We well, I don't know. I think I'm kind of rooting for Scully to make it out of his situation because it seemed like he might be on the path to redemption somehow. So we'll see.
At least we hope.
At least we hope. You're right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that you get alerted every time we post a video. We are also at The Spot Real Talk on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So give us a follow there. And we are now recapping The Godfather of Harlem. So you can catch our recaps of that show on Sunday nights. That's another show that is absolutely fire. So follow us on that one too as well. Do you guys have any closing remarks before we head out?
Well, yes. Ron and I will be joining Lamont Tyson tonight for his season finale recap. So check us out on his platform.
Yep. At what time does the show come on?
9 p.m. He goes live.
All right, 9 p.m. on Lamont Tyson's page on YouTube. So follow Tiffany and Ron over there, and they will be joining his panel.
Discussing SnowFall season finale.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. We're going to call it a night. Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Wake up the clear, my eyes hit recorded. Praise up to God, I ain't chasing no swinging and miss, got me hitting these licks. I get the orders, don't get it distorted. Disconnected, I've been cordless, I've been cordial, I've been exploring. I got a whole lot, but somehow I want more of it. Yeah, I want a tour and put on for the soil. Hey, bruh, remember they used to ignore us? Now they drop me the pin with the cord and they catch me running through the ordinance. Remember we couldn't afford the whip. Pushing the scraper, that was so ageless, we blowing on grapes for the flavors. All of a sudden we major, still independent by no label. For now I'm going hard enough that the streams will lead to a house by the beach.